This is where the wealthy and the powerful rule. It is her world.
Greetings, travelers. I'm your host, the C-Dot that knows a lot, Dr. Waluigi. We continue our look into the Beauty and the Beast TV series with the second episode that showed us the more animalistic side of Vincent and just how visceral he could be. This is my review of Episode 2, Terrible Savior.
This is where the wealthy and the powerful rule.
The episode follows Catherine as she is investigating a case of a vigilante killing punks that ride the subway. She learns that this vigilante looks very similar to Vincent and grows more and more concerned that it may be Vincent killing people in the subway. Will Catherine be able to solve the mystery of the subway killer, or is it really Vincent that is releasing some kind of animalistic rage?
This is where the wealthy and the powerful rule.
I said before that I would talk more about the other characters throughout the show, and while this episode doesn't really show them off as much as later episodes, I do think that they have some great moments that are worth talking about. First, we have three of the characters from the world above that are close to Catherine: Joe Maxwell, Jenny Aronson, and Isaac Stubbs. Joe is Catherine's boss and is portrayed as a guy who loves to crack jokes and often seems like he doesn't take his job seriously, but does show Catherine the ropes at the DA and what it means to try and help those people in need. He very much reminds me of a beat cop character, someone who's been doing this job for a long time and knows what's going on out on the streets, or in this case what type of clients they get. But he does care about the people he works with and their clients, though he does tend to hide his feelings with jokes. In the show, he gives Catherine a nickname calling her Radcliffe for the entire show, as that's a reference to the law school she went to. The second character, Jenny, is one of Catherine's friends who helps her with looking up all of the reports and suspects on the show. In the pilot, she didn't have a lot of respect for Catherine and thought that she was trying to make a name for herself when she joined the DA, but when she looks her up and learns about her attack, she ends up giving Catherine a chance and they soon become close friends. The last character who I'll be talking about from the world above is Isaac Stubbs, Catherine's coach in self-defense, and someone she has to go to in the episode as she believes that the person who was attacking people in the subway is someone who uses martial arts to beat and kill his victims. Isaac doesn't appear in a lot of episodes, but from what we do see of him, he is a fun character that shows Catherine what it means to live in the slummy parts of New York. It's also here where Isaac introduces Catherine to the villain of the episode, Jason Walker, played by Dorian Harewood. He's a very charismatic man who does want to help people living in the slummy part of New York, but he goes about it the wrong way. As for the characters in the world below, the only one we really get to see in the first two episodes is Father, played by Roy Dotrice. He's one of the heads of the world below and acts as Vincent's guide by giving him advice on how to deal with his empathic relationship with Catherine. He does get more interesting as the series goes on, but for now, he just acts like the grumpy old man mentor who tries to take care of those in his charge.
This is where the wealthy and the powerful rule.
For the second episode of a Beauty and the Beast TV series, it really does up the ante with having a pretty decent mystery and a great way of expanding a bit more of the world below, with Vincent going to a spot called the Whispering Caves, a place where voices of the world above can be heard and where the tragic end to our villain takes place. Overall, I'd say this episode's pretty good for the world building. But I wish it weren't the second episode.
This is where the wealthy and the powerful rule.
Yeah, the one thing I think that doesn't work about this episode is that it feels like it should be in a different spot from this season. I think the main reason why I feel this way is because of Catherine's reaction to Vincent possibly being the one killing the people in the subway. I know that in shows, the episodes usually take place in a different time frame than when they're released, but this is still the second episode of the show, and it doesn't feel like Catherine should be worried about Vincent going crazy when she's only met him a few times and seen his animal instincts take over once. It just feels like the writers didn't get a chance to build up Catherine and Vincent's relationship to the point that she'd be concerned with him turning into a monster, and just feels like an idea that should have come at a later time in the show. But that's just me.
This is where the wealthy and the powerful rule.
I feel like this episode should have been saved for another spot in the season down the line, possibly episode 10 or 11. While I think that it has a good mystery and great suspense, it just feels odd to have Catherine be suspicious of Vincent when she hasn't really known him for that long, and feels like she's jumping to conclusions rather than doing a proper investigation. I'm not sure what episode I would have replaced this one with, but the creators definitely should have given Catherine more time to get to know Vincent and the world below more. Then we could have had this episode where she feels afraid of Vincent because of a previous encounter with how unpredictable his animal instincts are. Overall, I give Terrible Savior a 5 out of 10. Not a bad episode, but it does feel out of place in this season. Thanks for watching. I'm Dr. Waluigi. And remember, don't judge a book by its cover, because you'll never know what's inside. Good night, everyone.
This is where the wealthy and the powerful rule. It is her world, a world apart from mine.
When the